Why should I choose OET versus IELTS? The question of questions. So the answer is, on the one hand, the OET helps you, of course, get your PIN like the IELTS, but on the other hand, it also teaches you the necessary medical language and nursing language that you are going to need. Now, even if you pass the IELTS exam, you will still need to learn this language. Now, what I'm going to actually do now is I'm going to show you what the OET exam looks like and what the IELTS exam looks like. And you are going to see on your own that some exams are much easier than others. So I said that for OET, you start with the listening paper. And the listening has three parts. Part A, where you listen and fill in 24 gaps with words from a recording. Don't worry, I'm going to discuss the technique. I'm going to discuss a lot of other things. How many times you listen to the recording? All these questions are going to be answered. Then you have part B, where you hear 6 short recordings, and for each of them, you have a question with 3 possible answers. And then you have 2 longer recordings, each of them with 6 questions, each of them with 3 options. Basically, you have fill in the gaps and multiple choice for listening, and it's almost the same thing for reading. You have part A in OET reading, so you have 4 texts, and based on them, you need to answer 20 questions. You need to say in which text a certain information can be found, A, B, C, or D. You need to choose some words from the text to answer questions, or again, fill in the gaps. In reading parts B and C, in part B, you are going to have, just like listening B, 6 texts with 1 question per text. And in part C, you are going to have 2 longer texts, each of them with 8 questions and 4 possible answers. In writing, you need to write just 1 letter with information which is provided. If here you have discharge date, then you say he's being discharged today. This is most probably going to be the date of the letter. If you have diagnosis pneumonia, you say Mr. Smith was diagnosed with pneumonia. You are not allowed to bring any ideas or information. You just need to transform what you have here in sentences. He has osteoarthritis, mainly in his fingers, and he applies Voltaren. So you do not think too much. You just transform notes into sentences. Paracetamol 500 milligrams. He should take paracetamol 500 milligrams. And in the speaking, you are going to have 2 cards. Every time you are going to be the nurse talking to a pretend patient, you have this card with what you have to do, and the patient also has their card, but you are going to have 2 of them, okay? So I'm going to discuss about the structure in a bit, but this is what you have to do. So you're going to have 2 cards like this. Again, you don't have to come up with any information. You need to just transform what you have here in sentences. For example, first you need to wash and dry your hands. Then you need to pinch your skin and insert the needle at the 45 to 90 degree angle. Finally, leave it in place for 5 to 10 seconds and take it out. As you can see, I do not make up stories, ideas. I just transform what we have here. This has been the OET exam. Let's see what the IELTS exam looks like. The listening paper. These are the types of questions you are going to have: form completion, multiple choice, short answer questions, sentence completion, matching, filling in a plan, map, or diagram, note completion. This would be a form completion. This would be multiple choice. This would be short answer questions. This is the sentence completion. This is matching. This is another type of matching. This is labeling a plan, map, or diagram. And note completion. This is the listening, yeah? In reading, again, we can have multiple choice, true or false. You need to fill in this table. And I'm just going to go through all the types, yeah? So, and this one, 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 and this one. So you see how many types of activities you have in reading and in listening. Now, in writing, you have two parts, so not just one, as we had earlier with OET. We have two parts. You first need to describe a chart, a graph, maybe a process. You are not given any information, as you can see, yeah? You need to come up with all the vocabulary, and then you have an essay. The average standard of people's health is likely to be lower in the future than it is now. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? There are 6 different types of essay and structures that we can use just for writing two that you need to know, because otherwise you can't do it. And again, you need to come up with all the vocabulary. So in OET, you have one letter to write. All the ideas are given to you. You don't have to think, just transform. In IELTS, you have 2 tasks, and for these 2 tasks, you need to have a well-developed vocabulary and use a wide range of grammar structures. And then you have the speaking. And first, in the speaking, you are going to answer questions about yourself on 2 topics. Then you are going to have 1 minute to think about this topic or a topic, and you need to target certain answers, and you need to speak for 2 minutes. And then you have part 3, which is a bit more advanced, similar to writing part 2, for example, where you need to support your answers with a bit more information. What kind of things give status to people in this country? Have things changed since your parents' time? Do you think advertising influences what people buy? And again, you are not given what to say. Let's remember that here in OET, you are given what to say. You shouldn't come up with your own ideas. If you know how to do this injection process, you would need to still say those things. And if you want, you can add something more, but you need to fit everything into 5 minutes. This wasn't done to scare you, to be honest, but I just wanted to make sure you understand the difference between OET and IELTS. Now, there are cases of people who try IELTS, they find it difficult, and they move on to OET. Rarely people who study OET move on to IELTS, and they rarely find IELTS easier. This is also a post from the official OET website about this difference, because this is a question that comes up a lot.